Alright, and welcome back. We are on Chapter 8, doing part drawings and associative functionality. For Part 1, we are only going to do the model of one of the exercises in Chapter 8. So let's go ahead and get started on that. We'll start a new part. I'm going to turn my sketch planes on. There we go. And I am choosing exercise number 4 for this exercise. Turn the planes back off real quick. I'm going to center about the origin the middle of this part. So I'm going to first of all create my two circles for the center of that part. Next, I'm going to draw from the center a construction line that direction and another one this direction. Make both of those for construction. I want to set my second construction line at the 30-degree down like they've specified in the book. Now I want to go ahead and start on the outside of my circle here. I'm going to, whoops. Alright, let's try that another way. Use the offset command instead. The thickness of my main part is 0.2, so I'm going to go ahead and go 0.1 offset in both directions. I want to go bidirectional. There we go. And click OK. And I want to do the same thing for this other line down here. Bidirectional is turned on, and it's the same distance, so we're just going to click OK. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up the profile for this end of the part here. Now that thickness is 0.1, so we want to go ahead and set that. And to make everything centered up, we're going to constrain that to the midpoint. Oh, I've got a relation here that it's. There we go. Now I should be able to. There we go. That's what I wanted. So now that can't move. That stays in line. Oops, I want to remove that little tail there. That's going to cause me problems later. Back out a little bit. We'll move down over here, and all we need over here is just a line that connects the two ends together. And not sure where these tails came from, but we don't want those in our model, as they will definitely cause problems later. Alright, now my profile kind of has the resemblance of the right shape, so I want to go ahead and zoom in here, and let's go ahead and trim some of this stuff back here. go. And this stuff right here, I don't want. Oh, got a couple of points that won't go away. We'll see what we can do to get those to go away in a little bit here. Those are remnants of the endpoints of these lines, I believe. Nope. All right, so we'll come back to that. We'll trim this out. There we go. And then we're going to start dimensioning our part. That is a 0.5 radius. The inside is a 0.75 diameter. The length of this line here, whoops, it's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Oh, caught this little mistake here. We need that point and that midpoint to be coincident. Now, that line to there, we want that to be 1.75. Oh, and I've got a relation I need to add because that line is supposed to be parallel to that line. Next, I've got a little issue going on here where I've got this, whoops, don't want the midpoint, just want the line. And that line, I want those to be collinear. I want that line and that line to be parallel. And then I want this line and this line to be equal. There we go. Now I have that dimension there that's holding it at the proper distance, but I need a dimension from the center out to this line. And I need that to be 1.5. Something doesn't look quite right. Let's make sure that that is vertical. There, that looks better. Then this line here is going to be from that point to the center. We have a dimension of 1.75, but that's to the center of the circle. So we can go 1.75, but I want to go all the way to the end, which is another 0.375. All right. Now that we are still underdefined, but it's because of these 2 points right here. And these 2 points are kind of just hanging out. They're remnants of a line that doesn't exist anymore. And deleting on them, or selecting them and deleting them, does not work. I am going to try exiting the sketch. I'm going to go ahead and do my extrusion, which is 0.75, but I'm going to do that mid-plane. Go ahead and click OK. Now I'm going to go back into my sketch, and my 2 points are still there. So we can try a couple of things to see if we can get those to go away. No, that doesn't work. That did not work. There is one method we can use. We move these off over here. We make sure we get everything except for those 2 points. Do a Control C. Click OK there. And then I'm not going to delete this sketch just yet, but I'm going to exit, and I'm going to start a new sketch on the front plane, and I'm going to paste my sketch from earlier. There we go. Now, if I go back, whoops, I need to exit the sketch. If I delete this and delete this sketch, that gets rid of those points. It's kind of an extreme move and kind of a last resort type of thing, but it does work. So now we can edit this sketch because we still want to fully define it. So now we need that point and that point to be coincident. We have some points here that are... Oh, I lost my constraint there. Whoop. I'll pull that right there. Whoa. Let's make sure that line is horizontal. There we go. Now we want this line and this line to be parallel. That's going to hold those parallel for us, because when I add this dimension, I want that to stay 0.2, and I don't want everything to move around like it did over here for me. There we go. And now I'm fully defined. So now I can exit my sketch. With that sketch selected, go up here and redo my extrusion. Hit plane. And everything's back like it should be. So now, to proceed with the part, I want to do an extruded cut here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this normal to, place my circle there and my circle there. We want all three of these to be horizontal to each other. I want my circle here to be a diameter of 0.25. And it would appear that this one is also 0.25, so let's go ahead and add a relation for that one to make those equal. Now the location of these circles, we can go from here to there, and that should be 0.5. And the location of this one is going to be from this edge .375. Yep, okay. And that's going to be those two holes. So we want to go ahead and exit the sketch. This I'm just going to do a through all and go ahead and cut those out. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a fillet on that edge and that edge. I'm going to do a full preview so I can see what it's looking like. I want the radius to be 0.375 as it calls out in the book. And just like that. Next, we've got this surface here that we want to draw on for another extruded cut. And this one, I've got a circle I need to draw. And I also have a rectangle. And I'll zoom in a little bit and better define these. There we go. Okay, so I want that midpoint and that midpoint to be coincident. I want the midpoint and that center point to be horizontal. Go ahead and put my diameter here. Oops, I'm sorry, radius. So I'm going to right click there and display as radius. Now I'll go ahead and click on it again and put my 0.2 for the radius. I'm going to go ahead and delete that line. I want this point and that circle to be coincident, that point and the circle to be coincident. I'm going to go ahead and trim out the center of that circle. And let's see, we still need from this edge to the center line or center point of that circle should be 0.5. And we need the width of this slot to be 0.1. And we are now fully defined. So now I'm going to go ahead and exit the sketch and cut that through all. And that should be my part. So this part is now ready to save. I'm going to go ahead and put that in my demo files. Save it under my last name dot first name. This is chapter 8, exercise 4. I'm going to go ahead and specify the material. Now the book doesn't give us a material, so we're going to just pick something, and I'm going to go down and choose ASTM A36. Apply, close that. That gives me my material, and I want to go to my properties. I want to make sure and fill out my properties. This is called an angle support. This is Chapter 8, Exercise 4. Material is specified from the part. The finish, I'm going to say that it's unfinished. And the weight is brought in from the model as well. And so that is all I need for this part. So I'll click OK there. Hit save one last time. This part is now ready to bring into a drawing. And so that will be covered in part 2 of this demonstration. So please stay tuned.